I also want to bring in 2 News sports anchor Cayden McFarland. You've been following this now for 13 months.
13 months.
Investigation's been going
long months.
Some allegations are, I guess, confirmed at this point, or at least that's what the NCAA is saying that they're moving forward with.
Yeah.
But no one's really anticipating significant penalties, right?
No, I heard you say this is a good news, bad news situation. It's a really, really good news, just kind of maybe a little bit of bad news situation ultimately, because if what Sports Illustrated had reported had been substantiated, you're looking at major violations for OSU, the kind that can cripple a program. That was absolutely not the case today. Pretty much everything they reported could not be substantiated. The minor violations are the kind of thing that may cost you a scholarship or 2, but it's not going to be anything like what we saw with USC or Penn State. So OSU fans, I think, know, and they knew after the series came out, that this stuff just wasn't as big as it had been billed or advertised by Sports Illustrated. And so I think it's maybe not a huge sigh of relief, because I think they just kind of knew this was coming.
And some people might say, if you looked at any program across the country, NCAA program, you might find 2 or 3 little violations.
Yeah. When you're talking about a 13-month investigation that costs $221,000, you're going to find things along the lines of what was found today. So, yeah, absolutely. What OSU's doing, you can't say that they're just above board in every single way and completely clean, but, nothing bad, certainly. If you're familiar with this investigation, you probably know the name John Talley. He was accused 13 months ago by Sports Illustrated of being a booster, I suppose, who paid or really overpaid players for work that they were supposed to do on his ranch. Joining us now live, John Talley. I don't want to say completely exonerated, but it certainly looks that way. The report today, the third-party report saying you did not, in fact, overpay players. Your reaction?
It felt great, and to be able to breathe deep and know that all the work that we've been doing for 21 years and all the players and students that we've worked with at OSU is a great feeling to realize that through the investigations from the NCAA and OSU that they didn't find anything that we had done wrong.
And to clarify for people out there, you do get work for players and eventually some money reaches their hands, but it's very different from $1,500 or $2,000 given to players for not doing work. Give people an idea of the nature of work they were doing and what they would be paid.
Well, I may be called by a farmer and him asked, could I find some help to build some fence? And so I call students and student athletes and get them out there and get them work, and they make $12 an hour, and so they work really hard for the money that they've made.
Regional director of the FCA here in the Stillwater area, and I know immediately when the story was published 13 months ago, a ton of former players came to your defense. What's that kind of been like? I know Cooper Bassett, Jamie Blatnick, some of those guys said, no, what Sports Illustrated's saying about John Talley can't possibly be correct. We know John Talley.
Well, it's because they work so hard. We've been doing all kinds of work, and I call it ministry. It's my way of ministering to students. I feel like if you can help a student make a little money legally, then they might listen to you about spiritual things. Sure. And so, yeah, it felt really good. In fact, I thought I was going to die because so many nice things were said about me.
Yeah, you said like the final scene of It's a Wonderful Life.
Yeah, that's how it felt.
All right, and you are suing Sports Illustrated. You can't talk much about that, but that's still ongoing, and this certainly isn't bad, the news we got today.
Yes, sir.
All right, John, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Ron.
All right, Cayden, thanks. We're going to hear from Big Al coming up on 2 News at 6. Get his take on what happened here today at Stillwater and what the future could be for the program. Want to get to some